In my last video about character backgrounds, I rolled my story cubes and we came up with some backgrounds for a possible little party. A gambler, an astrologer, a tinkerer, and these as well. And I got from that these people were on a journey. There was a storm, something mysterious happened, the driver disappeared and it was really spooky, and they don't know where they are because they're stranded in the middle of nowhere. Now, and I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, well, maybe when I came up with Gambler, I thought of Gwen Tuesday from my Midderlands campaign. She's a compulsive gambler, but I hoped she'd got over that. But when that came up, I immediately thought of her, and I thought, oh no, she's still struggling with her issues there. And when these came up as two different characters, I thought, well, perhaps Gwen's childhood friend Jill has finally just got fed up with her and said, look, sort your life out. So this made me think, well, perhaps, this is the end of the rainbow where she can deal with her issues. It's her getting over her gambling problem adventure, maybe, hopefully. But when I was looking at this shadowy figure, I thought, hang on a minute. Yeah. But the thing is with story cubes, you interpret them as you interpret them. There are no hard and fast rules. And the manufacturers, in fact, hide the so-called official interpretations, which they leave open as it is. So if you see a weird sort of shadowy demonic bat type creature, then that's what you see. Or you could turn it upside down and see some fiery stuff. Okay, but we're going with a shadowy bat type creature. Now these two are an astrologer and a tinkerer. They are not warriors. They're not adventurers, unlike Jill, who's a cleric. She's a level 3 cleric as well. So they're going to be NPCs. I'm just going to be concerned with Jill's stats here. So they are Melliflua Crookshank, and Tara Mayfield. So they are stranded in the middle of nowhere in a coach. So we'll see where we go from here. Now I will give these a quick mention at this point because people often ask about them. Big book of battle mats from Loki Battle Mats. You can buy them at all your favourite online retailers. So yeah, that. So the coach has stopped here and the driver's disappeared. Yes, of course it's a horse and not a sausage roll. So here is our coach, our heroes, Gwen and two friends, travelling companions, have got out of the coach and they're looking around on this stormy, bleak night where the rain is lashing down and the lightning's flashing and such. And they're looking around for the driver thinking, what the heck's going on? So what can they see in this bleak area of moorland or something to give them any kind of clue as to where the driver's gone? Or is there anywhere near that's useful to get help from? So I'll use this ridiculous die. Can our colleagues see any trace of where the driver might have gone? Equally likely. Well, my other question was going to be, can they see any structure or possible dwelling place in the I'm thinking moorland, sort of a bleak area like Dartmoor or something. So can they see an old farm building or any other place that might be habitable? Unlikely. So with our equally likely result for the possible tracks of the driver or traces of where he might have gone, they can see a path of some kind, some kind of tracks, but they can't really identify them. So as they are the only clue we've got to work with, then I don't know, Gwen might ask her companions to come along rather than leave them here, because she's the one with the mace. So to leave two civilians stuck in a coach with no weapons, they may as well stick together. So they're going to head off and follow this trail that they can see, or this path that they can see. Might be related to the disappearance of the driver, they're not sure. So we can see this track leading off. Apologies about any noise. And we're going to ask ourselves, can we see any clues along this track? Because we can't see a dwelling yet as we initially make our way. Can we find any kind of clue that's been left behind? Wow, 3 pluses. Just to remind anybody who's not seen these before, these are my maths dice. They are not fate dice, so they don't have blank size. They just have 3 pluses and 3 minuses. So we've got 3 pluses. That is definitely some kind of clue. Now I'm going to use my actions story cubes, because I sometimes use these for NPC sort of what they're thinking kind of stuff. And so I'm going to try and use these to give me an idea of what kind of clue it is or what it suggests, whatever it is that they've found as to the possible situation here, whether it's to do with the driver or not. Okay, so we think that we hear a call for help, perhaps from someone who may have been captured, but there are more than one direction we could go in because it echoes around these moors a bit. I'm not sure about that. Gift, bouncing ball. Okay, so we can hear a noise. We're not entirely sure which direction it's coming from. Now, what this has brought to mind with this spooky location and such is Midnight on Black Lake, or Blood Lake, sorry. And yes, an area called Black Lake, Blood Lake, Black Lake, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, a sort of spooky kind of thing here. So that's giving me the ideas. So they've come to this sort of lake on the moor, and the possible tracks lead to the end of this pier. Can they possibly see if there's a little boat or a raft that they could use? Oh yes, 3 pluses. So they find a little raft just under the jetty. Looks a bit like that. Maybe there's even an oar to help them get out onto the lake. Perhaps they can distantly just see something on the far shore, perhaps the merest hint of a shape. So they're going to follow it across this lake to see what on earth it is, because perhaps they can still hear a faint sort of sound that is leading them across this lake. Perhaps somebody sounds like they're struggling, sounds like they've been captured and they're trying to get free, maybe. The direction thing, I don't know, that may have been a red herring. But they're alarmed by this, and they definitely feel that there's a strong possibility they feel that the driver has been taken by force by some mysterious thing. So they're getting in the boat and they're going to investigate. Now, with the wonders of swords and wizardry, with its 1 saving throw, I'm going to use that to see if our heroes can find a definite trace of the trail, so they know which direction to go in. So Gwen has a saving throw of 13. Her intelligence is 7, so she doesn't get any bonus or anything. So we just need to roll 13 or more for her to find this trail. Because I think that saving throw is a nice little neat feature that you could use for any little check that you need. And you can apply an attribute modifier to it. If you've got a load of strength, you can apply that to it. Whatever. It's just a neat little thing like that Space Adventures X thing that just had one saving throw for attribute checks and everything. So we want a 13 or more, and we get a 5. So we don't know which way to go. We're going to have to explore. So as we begin to explore these caves on the other side of the lake, we've moored our little raft. Gwen will lead the way. Apologies again for the noise. And I'm going to roll on Table Fables 2 for a dungeon event and encounter. We get something a bit cavey, 59. One room in this dungeon suffers from an isolated time stop left over from some old battle. Okay, that's of no use. Yeah, that's just weird. It doesn't really. Oh, I don't know. Let's have a think. Shouldn't dismiss things so quickly. One room in this dungeon suffers from an isolated time stop left over from some old battle or magical standoff. 2 humans bedecked in ancient armour stand locked in battle. Sparks hang in the air. Smoke billows around the two. Any character that steps foot in this room will be affected by the time stop spell. Okay, can I interpret that in a way that's useful? Okay, so how I'm going to interpret that is the time stop. Having the midnight on Black Lake or Blood Lake or whatever lake in mind, this is a room that looks like it's frozen in time. It is like a child's bedroom, and it's covered in dust, and it looks like it hasn't been touched for years. It looks like, it is as it was or as it would have been. Perhaps it's been made up to look like... No, it's a child's bedroom that's not been touched for years, covered in dust. And that's what our characters see in this place. That is weird. But that's what I'm going to take from the time stop adventure thing. So that's there. There's nothing to encounter in a room like that, I don't think. I don't think it would make sense. Is there anything to encounter? Is there any creature of any kind? Yes, there is. That is a lot of pluses. I'm just going with, when I ask the question, plus is yes and minus is a no. So the more of one than the other, then that's what happens. So there is a creature of some kind. Yeah, I would imagine it would just be like vermin that's crept in or something. Okay, I picked out a difficulty level 3 monster, a giant spider small. So it has crept out from under the bed, and it looks like it wants to try and eat some of our characters here. So the spider will be grey, the Gwen will be red, our heroes will be red, and Gwen will go first. She draws out her mace and leaps to attack. So I'm using a descending armor class. Her Thaco is 18. The spider's AC is 8. So she needs to roll a 10 or more to hit. She launches in with her mace. Oh my god. This could be a quick adventure. She misses. Our other heroes are standing back. Well, they're not heroes, they're civilians, so they're standing back and letting Gwen do the work. Gwen's armor class is 5. The FACO of the spider is 18. So it needs to roll a 13 or more to hit. It would, wouldn't it? It does 1 hit point of damage, and Gwen has to save. She gets +2 bonus, but she has to save or die. We need to get a 13 and we can add 2. Okay, Melliflua is horrified that Gwen has gone down. She storms in with her FACO of 19. So taking away 8, she needs to get 11 or more. Oh, God. Tara comes in and also attacks. 11 or more, please. She hits. She's just got like a little dagger or something. And I've got a D4 somewhere. Let's roll the D8 and divide it by 2 and then worry about what that is later. Okay. That's a 4 on our D4. The spider has 8 hit points. So she's done it a bit of damage. I guess it would make sense for the spider to attack her if she was the one that hit. So her AC is 9. Yeah. 9 or more for the spider. That's a 20. Can she make her save? Her saving throw is 17 because she's a civilian. She adds 2 to this. You beauty. She shakes off the poison. So our civilians will attack again Melliflua with a FACO of 19, heading for an 11. She hits. Where's that little D4? Okay. We're improvising. I hate maths. 2. Now our other colleague here, Tara, will attack. And that is 11. So she needed 19, take away 8. Yep, she needed bang on 11. So she rolls a D4, which I still can't find. And that is some numbers. Probably a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's right. So she actually kills the giant spider. Awesome. Now they're surrounded by D4s, but you know, too little too late. So I think Tara or Melliflua might have something that could help with the poison, because Gwen is about to die. So does Tara have a trinket, or does Melliflua have some kind of lotion or potion? So what do you say, Melliflua? No, she doesn't. So does Tara have something? Oh, thank goodness. She does have something. So Gwen recovers from the poison thanks to Tara's... I've sort of decided that Tara makes sort of little trinkets, little crystal-y type trinket things, and occasionally some of them are useful, but most of them are just pointless tat. But she believes totally in what she's doing. So even though she's deluded, occasionally she comes up with the goods. So this time Gwen was saved. Now we need to proceed further into this cave complex to try and find the trail, which we've sort of lost, of the possibly disappeared driver. So we move on from that section, and I'm just going to do a roll because I've been thinking about how to resolve this adventure. Can we find a clue in this section? Yep, that's 2 pluses. Because looking at these, the story of Midnight on Blood Lake is that, hey, spoiler alert, the antagonist suffered a tragedy and she is taking it out on the local population. Now I'm thinking there is something here. Yeah, real spoiler alert, her son was killed by the local villagers because he was different, and she is taking it out on their children, which is not good. You know, the sins of the fathers and all that. That's not great. I think, judging from this, there is something like a ball or something that she gave to her child that sort of symbolises that, you know, how certain sometimes little knickknacks can sort of make you think of someone and can sort of symbolise a relationship in some ways. So there is something she gave to her child that is really precious to her, that will conjure up that relationship that was lost. And I think if our crew can find it, which they have, they will be able to set this problem to rights. So I'm thinking it possibly could be like a ball of some kind, like that the child was given as a gift by the antagonist here. So our crew are able to find that and then proceed through the caves, trying to follow a trail. I'll just do a saving throw check to see if Gwen can pick up the trail. Oops. No, we're going to have another random encounter, I think, because we're still not able to. We're just going through and we're trying to find our way, but we're not getting very far. Or at least we don't know if we're going in the right direction. 35. The characters encounter a very, very, very solid stone door. The opening contraption is hopelessly broken, but a player of clever hands may be able to fix it. Okay. Well, perhaps the antagonist who lives here is able to operate the door in some way. But, well, we've got a tinkerer, haven't we? So, I think our characters are going to put their heads together to find their way through this large stone door. So if we can get a save out of one of them. So let's have Gwen go first, needing a 13 with her normal everyday saving throw. That's no good. What about Mellifluous? She needs a 17. And Tara, come on. Oops. That was a 10, okay. We're stuck at this door, we need to find another way. We can't get through, but clearly our antagonist is strong and able to operate this slightly broken door. Well, I think this is one of those things where if they're going to stick at it, then they're going to eventually work their way through. But we need some time pressure, so if our driver's hit point starts off at 8 and we fail this attempt, then he loses 2 because we are taking too much time. Now, come on, Gwen. You need 13. Mellifleur needs a 17. And Tara needs a 17. Oh yeah, you see, let the tinkerer tinker. So Tara, brilliantly, is able to figure out how to work this mechanism, and our driver does not lose any more hit points before we are able to find our way to him. Now, we discover our antagonist with the driver, who she was draining the life force of, and I think we need to know how aggressive she's going to be, because she might be willing to listen, or she might just attack us or attack the driver before we can put across to her what we want to communicate. So, state of mind. Oh no. Okay. 1 to 3, she attacks the driver. 4 to 6, she comes at us. She attacks the driver. She drains D4 more life from him. That's 2 more. He's down to 4. Okay, Gwen is going to step forward and she's going to make her plea. And her charisma is 13, so I'm going to give her a +1 on her save. So she's got to get a 12 or more. Come on, Gwen. Oh yes, 19. So she's able to stop the antagonist here from draining further life from the driver. And Gwen has got her attention. And she shows her the ball that she found in the cave, which symbolizes the relationship between the antagonist and her son, who was sadly killed many years ago. And it makes her pause from draining the life from the driver. So that is enough to give us a chance to try and communicate with this person. I mean, I wouldn't have thought she was quite undead, but you know, Gwen being a cleric is a bit of an expert in that field. So yeah, we're going to lay down the situation, and she's clearly willing to listen now with Gwen's fantastic saving throw roll of a 19. So from what the coach driver is able to tell Gwen, she can fit together the story, having seen the child's bedroom made up in the cave here, and found the toy, and she's able to explain to the antagonist here. I won't give her a name or a description, because let's leave that vague. But she's able to explain that what the villagers did was totally wrong, just because her child was a bit different and he was persecuted and hounded to his death, and that was a terrible thing. And Gwen will make sure that never happens again. She's going to travel back to the village with her companions here and the coach driver, and let them know what's happened, and to bring to light the terrible thing from the past, which should never happen again. And our character here, who is, you know, partially undead, can perhaps rest in peace now that that terrible crime, that wrong, will be righted, and maybe Gwen can realise that you know, you could lose some very important things in life, and her gambling is small fry. You know, losing money, gaining money. You know, she's lost her best friend, and this character lost her child. So perhaps that's been enough to shake her out of her issues. as they make their way back to the coach and leave our colleague here to seek her eternal rest as she drifts back from her undead state back to the rest that she's denied herself. Her bitterness having driven her to live beyond her normal time. So, yeah, I think we've resolved that. We've brought our Gwen back, and she'll be able to go back to her friend Jill and say, "Look, mate, I've dealt with my problems. You know, let's get out there on the road again and set the world to rights." So, anyway, that was a bit strange. Thank you very much for watching. That was where our Rory's Story Cubes led us with our phantom shadowy figure. Or, yeah, but in our case it was a phantom shadowy figure. I shall see you soon. Cheers.